everyone, and welcome to Motorcycle.com's latest test of 125cc play bikes. You probably are familiar with the Honda Grom, kind of the OG of the mini bike, street bike phenomenon. And ever since that bike came out, there's been a whole heap of new bikes to come out, hit the market. You probably know the Kawasaki Z125. I rode that bike not too long ago and did a review on that. But there's two other bikes in this field you may not be familiar with. The Kymco K-Pipe 125 and the SSR Motorsports Razkull 125. The Grom, that's $3,200 down to the SSR, that's $1,800. And then the Kawasaki's 3 and the Kymco's $1,900. So you've got this wide range of play bikes of different price levels, of different capabilities, all 125cc, all air-cooled, 2-valve, single overhead cam, anywhere from 7 to 8 menacing horsepower. But let's not dwell too much on the specifics. You've got mini bikes here. They make us feel like kids again, and so we're gonna go ride them, do stupid things, and let you know how they are. I work with these people.
I just want to give a shout out to all my Grom fans. The Grom rules, it kicked ass. These guys didn't stand a chance in hell with their little carbureted other tiny junk bikes. Grom. It won! #1 bike right here.
The race is rigged. It's all rigged.
It's rigged.
This race is rigged. I don't care what the polls say, it's rigged. All right, fellas, coming down the hill just now, these 4 bikes really made me feel like a child, and I'm sure it did for you guys too. I could tell because the way you were riding. So, so SSR Razkull 125, Honda Grom, Kawasaki Z125, and Kymco K-Pipe 125. Little bikes, big fun. What do you guys think? John, let's start with you.
Yeah, you know, I didn't think we'd have any fun, but we had pretty good fun, didn't we? It wasn't so much fun going up the mountain, but it was time to come back down, where a couple of them weren't limited by power. They're pretty dang fun to ride. The Honda feels most like a shrunk down motorcycle to me. Kawasaki's right there. The white one you're on, the SSR Razkull's actually for like 2/3 the money of the 2 Japanese ones is great. The Kymco not so much.
Well, yeah, Tom, you were bringing up that topic earlier. The Grom is $3,200. The Razkull is $1,800. Which one is worth the money to you?
Well, you know, I'd like to point out though that the Kymco, the least powerful bike here, and really struggled to go up the hill, especially with me on it, actually was in first place for a good part of that downhill race because of larger wheels, and there was no limiter. I mean, that thing got up to 76 miles an hour with my 180 pounds on there. Yeah. So, you know, props to the Kymco in that one area.
Yeah, you don't want to give it any props when it was time to brake. A couple times you had to brake either, because I think that's what took you to the front, was that you couldn't slow down.
Anything over 76 miles an hour on that bike is ridiculous.
I like the Kymco because it felt like a natural feeling motorcycle. These other ones, they're kind of like really quick to steer, and so at higher speed, I really like that. But yeah, the motor kind of is a bit of a letdown. The Kawasaki, yeah, speed limiter 67 miles an hour, and the other ones went up to 70 or so. Is that right?
I got 73 on this Razkull before I had to look up again on that Razkull. The Grom I got about 70. That's what I last paid attention to anyway. But the big question here, I think Tom, you were alluding to it earlier, was worth. Fun per dollar.
Yeah, you know, I think for the Honda to me is probably the most well put together of these 4 motorcycles. But it is. It's a a hair, I think, behind a Honda. A little bit more comfy seat, right?
Yeah.
The seat's nice on that one.
I think a little bit more ground clearance if you're actually going to race these things. This is the Kawasaki's, set up a little bit better right from the get-go. But for the money, yeah, the SSR, I mean, you're losing, a horsepower? It's got 7.5, 8. It's carbureted, they're fuel injected, but really, if you look at the styling, it's got a cool little seat cowl.
It's a total shrunk down Ducati Monster.
Yeah.
They totally lifted the Monster, and it's kind of cool. It's like a toy Monster for $1,800, right? Is it 1,800?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's kind of neat. If you had a Monster, you could park that next to it. They might mate in the garage. I don't know.
I see these things in kind of two classes. Like if I was going to have a bike I'd be trying to ride daily or almost daily, I'd take the fuel-injected Japanese bikes because they're going to be better able to accommodate altitudes. Like we went up, these things were carbureting fine, and I think their longevity will probably be better than the China-made stuff on the end. But if I was just going for a toy, just a pure toy, I had another motorcycle to have around, I'd take that SSR. That thing looks cool, and I think I'd have a lot of fun messing with it to try and make it a better bike. Something
It has a trellis frame.
a little more horsepower, put a pipe on it, do a jet kit, some braided lines or something. I think that'd be fun to play with. That's a good little toy there on the end.
Interesting enough, this Razkull has the second highest torque of all four of these.
Yeah.
Honda's first in horsepower and torque. SSR comes second in the torque department. Kawi third, Kymco a distant last. Honda and Kawi make about 8.5 horse. This SSR 7.5, Kymco 7, and then the Kymco makes 5 foot-pounds of torque. That's pretty.
Well, it's funny though.
Terrible in this group.
We're talking the difference of a horsepower,
Yeah.
but then today.
But you're talking about 7 and 8 horsepower.
Right. But the thing was the weight. My weight being say 30 or so pounds heavier than most of you guys.
Because the guns. It's the guns.
I'm on the Kymco and just not getting anywhere. And then we switch bikes, and all of a sudden you can still be pulling me. When I'm on a faster bike. It was just so funny. But the other problems with that Kymco is going to be in its transmission. It's got about a foot of throw between each gear. Not really hot on the transmission on that bike.
And it can idle with the clutch lever out. It's like a semi-automatic clutch system, which is weird. It's like, why have a clutch lever? Either have a clutch lever that works like a clutch, or don't have a clutch lever and make it be a semi-automatic. That's what I'd do.
It's got this instrument cluster from a 1980s Casio watch up there.
Which kind of blinks off and on. The LCDs when it's cold in the morning. It says you're going 47. Then it says you're going 4A miles per hour. I don't know how to interpret that kind of speed. 4A. So
Kymco though fits bigger people better, right? These little small wheel things, they're kind of tiny. If you got a bigger, taller kid and wants to play on a 125, maybe this would be a decent choice for him. But these other ones are a little more fun to ride, right?
Yeah, the other quirks of the Kymco, 17-inch wheels versus 12 on these other 3. The transmission, like we talked about earlier, it's a semi-automatic, so the clutch is almost useless. But also too, neutral's all the way down, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. If you plan on transitioning to a bigger bike one day, and that's your first bike, it's going to throw you for a loop for a little while until you adapt to the other bike. But the flip side of the transmission is you don't need to learn how to feather a clutch to go, especially useful if you're going up a hill. You can just twist and go. So, there's upsides to it. Right. Just depends on your flavor of the month.
Yeah. I got to go with Kev, and so I think if you got the SSR, you could do like a Pop Yoshimura with a rat tail file in the main jet and put a nasty exhaust on it. That would outpower all of them. I think that one's cool. SSR.
I think we have a new project bike in the works here.
If they don't want it back anytime soon, we can take that on.
The difference I see between an $1,800 play bike and a $3,200 play bike is fit, finish, and materials. Right. The other day we had these 4 bikes and a bunch of pretty new riders on them, and the Kawasaki and the SSR fell over. You look at the Kawasaki, it has a bent clutch lever, a bent shifter, and I think the difference with the two is with the SSR, this clutch lever fell over sitting still. The bike was on its side stand, which by the way is entirely too long for the bike. There was nobody on it, a gust of wind hit, the bike fell over, and the clutch lever just snapped off, whereas the Kawasaki just bent. I'm not saying a more robust clutch lever is worth double the price of this SSR, but you see the differences when you're talking about finish and materials. And fuel injection versus carburation, that's a big difference
Yeah, I
too.
think that's just as cool as the Honda almost. It's got the same instrument panel as the Honda. It does. It's the same thing. It's got a little tapered bar on it too.
Yeah,
They all
steel
got
or
the
aluminum?
upside down forks and rear disc brakes, except for the Kymco over here. It's got a drum rear brake.
And
on
no
it.
upside down fork
Right.
on it.
Yeah, I think that they got a trellis frame for God's sake.
Yeah, that SSR.
got a steel trellis frame.
right? And the little solo tail section, tail cowl.
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
That looks cool.
And a 3-gallon tank, which is kind of nice. I mean, not you're going to go touring on the thing, but it can go farther than these other guys can.
I could picture you in your 10-gallon hat riding around on that around Long Beach.
So I think we're all in agreement here. If this is maybe your first motorcycle that you want to learn on and you don't want to worry about maintenance or anything like that, just want to hop on, press the button and go,
Yeah.
Honda or Kawasaki is where it's at.
Yeah,
If
that's-
you maybe have experience riding a bike and you want a toy, Kymco or Razkull is a good place to go.
Do you think
Um,
that's a good place to go?
Sounds like for us, with our unique set of experiences, if we could only pick one, what would you pick? John?
I think I'm already on record, Your Honor. I like the Razkull for the money.
For the money.
For
You
God's
can't beat it
sake.
for the money.
Even if it was the same as the other two, I might like it better.
John picks the Razkull. Tom?
Yeah, you can't beat it for the money. I mean, that's just the bike
Tom
to have.
picks the Razkull. Kevin?
For the money, yeah, I'd want to play with that bike. But for like a regular use bike, I definitely want one of these Japanese fuel injection ones.
Which leaves me.
Troy Shihan.
For my money,
The drum roll.
I don't... Yeah, I pick the Razkull too.
There it is. You don't have to fill out the scorecard this time.
We have a winner.
Hey, guys, the street light just came on and my mom wants me home, so we gotta wrap this up and get out of here.